네, 그럼 먼저 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 지금부터 제1회 광주 외국인학교 교장배 5.18 영어 스피치 중등부 대회를 시작하겠습니다. 저는 사회를 맡은 광주과학기술원 4학년 이현지라고 합니다. We will now start the middle school division of Gwangju Foreign School's first May 18th Democratic Uprising English Speech Contest, held by the school principal. I am Lee Hyunji, a senior student at GIST, and will be your host for today. 본 대회는 광주 외국인학교가 주관하고 광주공유경제연구회가 주최하며 제40주년 5.18 민중항쟁 기념행사위원회, 광주시교육청, 광주MBC, 광남일보, 남도일보, 무등일보, 교육연합뉴스, 사랑방신문 후원으로 개최되었습니다. This contest is supervised by Gwangju Foreign School, organized by Gwangju Research Association of Sharing Economy, and sponsored by the Commemorative Event Committee for the May 18th People's Uprising, Gwangju Metropolitan Office of Education, Gwangju MBC, Gwangnam News, Namdo News, Mudung News, Education 연합 News, and 사랑방 News. 먼저 심사위원을 소개하겠습니다. We will first introduce the judges. Ms. Jillian Iwanek, Principal of Gwangju Foreign School and the Chairman of the Judges, 심사위원장이신 광주외국인학교 진리안 교장선생님이셨습니다. 그 다음으로 호남대학교 영어영문학과 김강 교수님, 광주공유경제연구회 김한배 회장님, 그리고 미국 빌검대 명예교수이자 한국족보와 시조의 세계적 학자이신 마크 A. 피터슨 교수님이십니다. 네, 이어서 심사위원장이신 광주외국인학교 진리안 교장선생님께서 심사 기준을 설명해 주시겠습니다. Ms. Iwanek, Principal of Gwangju Foreign School, will explain the judging criteria.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. You are among the top 25% of submissions for this contest, and you made it to the finals. Congratulations. Today, you will be judged on several criteria. First, on how well you deliver the speech. Do you hold the attention of the audience? Do you speak with appropriate volume and inflection? Second, on the content and organization of your speech. Do you demonstrate full knowledge of the subject? Do you use facts to support your ideas? And finally, you will be judged on your enthusiasm. Do you demonstrate strong enthusiasm about this topic? Does your speech increase awareness of the topic for your audience? You will receive a final score out of 10 possible points. The top scores will be awarded the prizes. Our ceremony will be held virtually on Monday, May 18th. We will give you more details about the ceremony later on today. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Iwanek. 한국말로도 교장 선생님께서 하신 말씀을 요약드리면, 첫째, 적정 음량과 어조로 관중을 사로잡을 수 있는 전달력. 둘째, 내용에 대한 지식과 사실을 잘 알고 정리하였는지. 그리고 마지막으로 말하는 내용에 대한 열의가 있는지, 5.18에 대한 인식을 듣는 이로 하여금 더욱 고양시킬 수 있는지입니다. 만점은 10점에 따른 수상자들이 있겠습니다. 그럼 교장 선생님의 말씀과 응원을 시작으로 이제 발표를 들을 시간이 되었습니다. It's now time to hear from our contestant. 오늘 발표 순서는 이름 가나다 순이고요. 첫 발표자 박신영을 소개합니다. Our first speaker is 박신영. 바로 준비되시는 대로 소거를 풀어주시고 바로 시작하시면 되겠습니다.
What we want was a normal and ordinary thing. I cannot understand.
해주셔야 될 것 같아요.
네, 됐는데요. 네. What we want was a normal and ordinary thing. I cannot understand why those things regarded as abnormal should be banned with such harsh repression. The public sentiment under the margins of the Democratic Fund couldn't help but slip from the feast of military autocracy. I should make a voice toward a strong willingness to accomplish the long-term aspiration, democracy, human rights, freedom. I at times spend my time imagining those days in the young lives, always just to realize the normal aspiration fell down of the victory. But I can also hear those people voice up over their right to be free from this as democracy and realize the real one in this country. I can hear those words from them. Democracy, human rights, freedom. From proclaiming the martial law to the occurrence of the rebellion caused by the new military department, there were countless sacrifices of the innocent citizens, who even didn't know why they had to die or be murdered on May 18th. The people going there in a raging Gwangju burst out their voice into a big action which indicated a clear message. The brutalities committed by the military force according to the materials were countless. I will tell you the story told by the man named Cho Jang-seok, who was a student at the time. He told that he was chased by the two soldiers holding M16 automatic rifle without his knowing any reasons. In the middle of chaos, did he find a place to hide which was filled with the black briquettes? However, the army stabbed every briquette with the rifles to check his presence. He added that the soldier said, "We just missed the game countdown." I cannot tell every story which happened to the citizens of Gwangju, but undoubtedly, it must be very hideous memories without asking everything. Under the unspeakable repressions, the citizens of Gwangju gathered their all the resources, giving hands to neighbors in need, especially without any reasons. Someone chased someone to kill without any reasons, but someone helped someone without any reasons about their willingness. Still today, a lack of unity in terms of view toward the society, and some people of groups have a very different view over this issue, came to tarnish the meanings of the life. That those heroes and sacrifice for today's Korea. We, and I cannot forget the bravery and determination of those people who shouted and abandoned their lives willingly for the good in the battle of May 18th. We, and I must not forget the meanings of those messages which are still valid, which were sent from May 18th. We, and I will follow the examples which those heroes left behind for us on May 18th. Today, I want more time to stay alive like that day with all my strength. Democracy, human rights, freedom.
네, 감사합니다. 여기 아이폰 쓰시는 분 지금 여기 그 초록빛 그 자켓 입으신 분, 가디건 네, 음소거를 말하실 순서가 되기 전까지 유지하셨으면 좋겠어요. 중간에
음소거 계속 틀렸다가 막 그래요. 네.
네, 지금 소리가 들려서 음소거 해주실 수 있나요?
음소거 했는데
꺼주실 수 있나요?
소리? 음소거. 음소거.
화면을 한번 누르시면은 네, 되셨습니다. 네, 그럼 다음으로 저희 두 번째 발표자 박준현 학생 준비해 주십시오.
제 차례예요?
아니요, 아직이요. 박준현 학생. 차례입니다. 네, 시작하셔도 됩니다.
Hello, my name is Jinyoung Park from Gwangju. Hey, are you serious? The Gwangju May 18th democratization movement took place? Yes, indeed. I feel really proud I'm from Gwangju. Believe it or not, however, I didn't feel that way even a year ago. Definitely, May 18th movement is such a historic event that we hardly learn about it. But to be honest, I myself was not interested in it at all because it sounded very distant, something like French Revolution to me, because it wasn't even born in 1980, and so I didn't even imagine, bother to imagine how it might have been. But then, in my sixth grade at school, Paul Courtrai changed these, and since then I have valued the spirit of May 18th movement. He was an American volunteer who came to Naju in 1980. He saw Korean military forces kill a student with weapons. Based on what he witnessed, he wrote a book, Witness Gwangju. He also worked as a translator for famous foreign journalists in Korea such as Morgan Henspeter. Impressed by his stories and driven by my curiosity, I started looking for movies related to May 18th, which include Taxi Driver. Through such films, I came to realize how government mercilessly killed innocent Gwangju citizens for no reason. Brave citizens were fighting against injustice to get true democracy. The May 18th democratization movement was aimed at stopping military dictatorship. It can be seen as the seed of true democracy. It has been the driving force behind other democratic movements in Korea, and that's how Korea became a democratic society as it is today. It is a historical example of confirming the enormous power people can have. In addition, this is a voluntary movement showing the world that Korea is a democratic society country and that Korea's real and legal sovereignty belongs to its people. It also shows the great unity of Korean people. Before I took democracy for granted just like air, water, nature, and my parents. The right to speak, the right to express myself freely, all these seemed so very natural and it didn't seem all that valuable. And yet, these didn't grow on trees without the blood of people ahead of us. And thanks to Paul, I came to appreciate the fact Gwangju citizens stood up against injustice, against the democratic political leader, and against the unreasonable political system. Though we all enjoy our democracy freely these days, we need to remind ourselves how much we owe to our great ancestors, especially those who were sacrificed themselves during the movement. Currently, the whole world is in trouble from COVID-19. However, the Republic of Korea has handled this serious situation so well that the whole world is looking at us and admiring us. I think it is a spirit of empathy, cooperation, and voluntary participation by Koreans that has made possible our excellent response to pandemic COVID-19. And I believe this can be traced back to the May 18th democratization movement. Thank you for listening my speech.
네, 감사합니다. 그 다음 박지우 학생 준비해 주세요.
Every year, I'm
시작하시면
so
됩니다.
terrified of specific date, May 18th. It's because I found that everything back then was as horrible as it could. People kept lying about it for a long time, but now they cry this question out to the world so fiercely. Is there a reason why so much was beaten so brutally? There was no human right at the time, and now we all know the importance of it. May 18 democratic movement was staged by Gwangju from May 18 to 27, 1980 by opposing military dictatorship and rule. People in Gwangju demanded the abolition of martial law and the release of democratic political leaders. The process of soldiers catching people was cruel. Even if people ran away, they held them to the end, beat them with clubs, and stepped on them. They were not guilty of murder, assault, or sexual violence. Why didn't they ask the reason for following the order to kill innocent people? They should have asked why they had to make people hurt. Despite the tragedy, Gwangju citizens did not give up. Students protested and became the media themselves, and bus and taxi drivers formed the line in front of them to defend. I watched TV and read paper about May 18th. In Gwangju, at the time, mothers came out on the street and made rice balls. Merchants shared their groceries with people. Even those who had nothing to give gave their blood. Sometimes I feel people shouldn't grow up. If so, they live simple and innocent. However, I believe that there are a few good people to change the world. If they teach people how to live and act, they will make the world a better place. Therefore, it is crucial for people to learn May 18 democratic movement correctly. It is not a riot, but a democratic movement from Gwangju and Gwangju citizens.
감사합니다. 네 번째 발표자 온아리 학생입니다.
Title for my speech is What I Feel About This Special Day. Hi, I'm in the 3rd grade of Seoul Middle School, and my name is Onari.
죄송한데 혹시 다시 처음부터 시작하실 수 있나요? 처음에 좀 잘려가지고.
The title for my speech is What I Feel About This Special Day. Hi, I'm in the 3rd grade of Seoul Middle School, and my name is Onari. The topic I'm going to talk about today is the pro-democracy movement that happened on May 18th, 1980. First, before I start, I want to say that I feel honored to make a speech with this topic and in front of you guys. We are the future for Gwangju citizens who sacrificed their valuable lives to keep us as a democratic state. Also, even though most of us wasn't born when it all happened, thanks to movies and books and all those good information, I learned what it's all about and was really shocked by it. So there is a movie called Taxi Driver. I don't know if you guys heard it or not. It explains what happened here in Gwangju 40 years ago. In that movie, a number of university students and normal citizens were protesting towards our government. It was almost impossible to win back the normal life they had because the country was already dominated by the leader or one of the soldiers before. The country was always unstable due to the dictatorship. Even though protesting to the government at that time seemed useless, citizens in Gwangju were brave enough to fight for what's right. I think the reason why the Gwangju citizens fought back with all their lives was to make everyone realize what's happening to their own country and to awaken them from the whole situation. While the protest was still happening, some women made rice balls and handed those out to the protesters to help them with hunger. Taxi drivers in Gwangju drove citizens to places for free and used their taxis like an ambulance to transfer the ones with injury. Other citizens hid university students in their houses so they wouldn't get caught. Just by listening to what all the citizens did that time makes me feel touched and proud to be one of their descendants. They show us they were all united when all together, which helped with the situation quite a lot. But the thing is, the citizens had the right to be protected by the government and by the national army. Instead of protecting them, the person that called himself a leader actually did the opposite of it. He made peaceful protesting into a battleground by ordering the soldiers to use military force to everyone that's in his way. But not only the protesters, but also normal citizens that were just passing by even got hit without an explanation. There were young kids, people with disabilities, and elderly that got attacked even though they weren't doing anything. I just don't know why he had to kill all those innocent people just to get the power all for himself. A lot of people passed away through this process, which hurts every time I think about it. Gwangju citizens were examples to the whole country for doing the right thing and fighting for their rights. By this process, it explains that nothing can win the power of humans united and fighting for something together. So maybe some problems could be solved with this example they made for us. If I was one of the students in Gwangju at that time, I don't think I could have joined the protest without worrying about death or torture. I would have just stayed put in the corner of the house with lots of thick blankets surrounding me and my family. We'd all shiver in fear and hope everything will end soon. If everyone was like me, then maybe who knows, we wouldn't be living in this free country now. Our country will be like North Korea. It will be a communistic country if it weren't for courageous Gwangju citizens. So I'm really thankful for all their hard work and sacrifices. It wouldn't have been an easy decision to be a part of the protest. From this, I learned that we should all unite when there's a problem that's blocking us from the light. Like the coronavirus that's still happening, making everyone on this planet suffer. If we all give each other a hand or good energy, we're going to win this tough time together soon. That's it. Thank you for listening.
감사합니다. 네, 많이 떨리시죠? 저희 잘하고 있는 것 같습니다. 그 다음 발표자는 이대영 학생입니다.
In 1980, gunshots blared all over the skies of Gwangju, and blood of innocent citizens soaked into the ground. Soldiers who had a duty to protect their own fellow men aimed their rifles at innocent men and women. Bullets pierced through the body of those trying to uphold their democratic values. Hundreds of people died and thousands lost their friends and family. Can you imagine this happening in democracy? After President Park Chung-hee was assassinated, Commander of the Armed Services Jeon Do-hwan took governmental control of South Korea by force. He and his men ruled the country with an iron fist, and citizens all around the country joined in to protest their unfair hold of power. Even though the entire country was under protest, these tyrants targeted Gwangju by isolating it from the rest of the country and leading on disinformation campaign against citizens of Gwangju. We call this event Gwangju Uprising. Now, citizens throughout Korea commemorate the Gwangju Uprising on May 18th, the date when the soldiers turned his gun against his own people. When we walk down Chungjang Street, we see a memorial of this harrowing event. The streets are blocked and reenactments of the protest are visible to passersby. Attendants sing a marching song for my dear love, a commemorative song for May 18th. In a sign that citizens outside of Gwangju recognizing this event, Seoul citizens had their own memorial in front of Gwanghwamun, and more recently, UNESCO registered the Gwangju Uprising as a memory of the world in 2011. As I mentioned before, people commemorate this special event every year. However, instead of being despondent and somber, how about make this event a celebration of bravery these citizens exhibited to give us democracy? Let's not be changed from our sad, painful past. Let's make May 18th a cultural celebration. I think that the brave citizens who sacrificed their lives would be more satisfied to see us celebrating the lives they fought for. Providing a positive experience as a democratic movement and less as an experience filled with shame and sorrow can do a lot to the psyche of future generations. Having a positive experience on May 18th will safeguard these memories for generations to come. If these memories are forgotten, then the history is doomed to repeat itself, and that would be the real tragedy of it all. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 다음 이소윤 학생입니다.
Hello, my name is Lee So-yoon. Have you ever heard this song before? It is called 임을 위한 행진곡. This song is used for a soul wedding ceremony, which is a wedding for those who died during the May 18th Democratic Uprising. Do you know about the Gwangju Uprising? There are many people who do not understand the history of Gwangju Uprising. So today, I would like to tell the real story about the May 18th Democratic Uprising. Gwangju Uprising, May 18th through the 27th, 1980, was the mass protest against the military coup. At this time, South Korea was ruled by a military dictator who stepped in after the assassination of Park. After the death of the dictator, citizens hoped they could finally end the dictatorship, but several generals who seized power after the coup started to oppress the people in Korea. Citizens demanded democracy and they protested against dictatorship. The dictatorial regime assumed that they could control other areas if they completely subdued the protesting Gwangju. So they sent soldiers to Gwangju. When soldiers came into the city, they brutally and systematically suppressed the citizens. The massacre carried out by these cruel soldiers to not only university students who took part in the protest, but also poor, defenseless, innocent young youth and women. Citizens of Gwangju, whose side began to feel anger beyond fear. Since then, not only college students, but also ordinary citizens and teenagers of my age start to participate in the protest. In response to their demand, the military dictator, Chun Doo-hwan, opened fire on peaceful protesters, killing hundreds of Gwangju citizens. In a short period of 9 days, many people were killed and injured, and many lost their families. The dictatorship covered up the Gwangju uprising and spread the fake news, the false history of Gwangju uprising. First, at that time, the dictatorship claimed that citizens opened fire first. However, the investigation found that soldiers fired first in front of the Gwangju station at midnight on May 21st. Second, they claimed that the Gwangju uprising was a riot caused by North Korea. Even Chun Doo-hwan, the main culprit of May 18th uprising, said there was no infiltration by the North Korean military. Any country that forgets their past, there will be no future for them. We must know the truth and let everyone know. We must acknowledge Gwangju's sacrifice for democracy. Our country is once again showing the power of democracy to the world. In 2016, the Candlelit Revolution led to a peaceful regime change, and now it has succeeded in defeating COVID-19 without major national lockdown. Things that are hard to make happen in other countries are happening in our country. I think the civic spirit is all related to the Gwangju uprising. As a proud Gwangju citizen, I would like to let the world know about our great May 18th democratic uprising. Thank you.
감사합니다. 다음 이진주 학생 준비해 주세요.
Hello, my name is Sunju Lee, and I'm in the 7th grade. The title of the speech is The Unbelievable Cooperative Power of Gwangju. I'll talk about the warm and caring community spirit Gwangju people showed during the May 18th Democratic Uprising. The uprising took place in 1980. May 18th to the 27th, people of Gwangju opposed the martial law Chun Doo-hwan proclaimed nationwide. Unarmed, they peacefully shouted and demonstrated for its withdrawal. However, the martial army assaulted, shot, arrested, and tortured these innocent people, resulting in thousands of casualties. The people of Gwangju were isolated and oppressed in many unimaginable ways. Armies were set around the perimeter of the city, shooting anyone trying to cross the border. John controlled the domestic media from covering news about Gwangju. The whole movement was denounced as being an aggressive communist riot. According to the May 18th Memorial Foundation, things were also used to suppress these unarmed people. During all this, the Gwangju people functioned as an autonomous community. A rally called Gyeolgi-dae was open to let people know the status quo and what happened during the days. Hundreds of citizens attended these rallies out of concern and interest to see what they could do to help. People spoke freely and collected wisdom to help take care of the ill, feed people in need, and protect the city. What stood out the most for me was the family-like care and interest people of Gwangju had for each other. They served as an exceptional example of a participating cooperative community for Korean citizens and those abroad fighting for democracy. If we all personally learn to remember these events, we will be able to constitute a better, more caring society. Thank you for listening.
감사합니다. 이제 거의 다 끝나갑니다. 4명의 학생이 남았는데요. 다음으로는 임유빈 학생 준비되셨으면 시작하셔도 되겠습니다.
The heroes of Gwangju Uprising. Hello, my name is Lim Yubin. I'm in Gwangju Junior Middle School second grade. 3 minutes short time, but let's go to Gwangju Uprising movement. In 1980, there was a lot of democracy uprising happened all over the country. It was named Third Spring. In the end, when the uprising is going bigger, it was dissolved. But in Gwangju, they didn't give up and continued the demonstration. Gwangju citizens' image, which is in books and movies, are like the Terminators. They look like brave, strong, and have no fear. But they were humans just like us, and of course they have fear too. They just overcame it. So I introduced the people who overcame the fear and did the right thing. His name is Yun Sang-won. He was a spokesman of Gwangju citizens in Gwangju uprising. When the army was approaching to the Jeonnam provincial government, they put ahead tanks and attacked chopper. As you can see in the real world, it is impossible that citizens won again. Of course, Yun Sang-won knows this, and it can be a touching speech. Citizens, today we will lose this fight, but the history will make us the winner. He sent out a lot of people out of the provincial government and died bravely. There was the unknown person. His name is Moon Yong-dong. Under the provincial government, there was a lot of bombs and bullets. He thinks if this bomb blew up, around 3 kilometers will be destroyed and many people will die. So he asked the soldier for bomb dismantling. Finally, he succeeded dangerous bomb dismantling with the soldier's help. Then the soldier said to him, "If you stay here, you will die. Let's get out of here." But he refused and chose to stay behind. 3 hours ago, he got shot and died. Also, Gwangju's citizenship was very good. For a while, they had anarchy time, but illegal things didn't happen. They did funeral by themselves and cleaned the street. Human rights and democracy are given by a lot of people's sacrifice. Just like UNESCO says, Gwangju uprising was contribute of Korea's democracy. Surely, we have to remember them. Thank you.
감사합니다. 다음 조채영 학생입니다.
시작하나요?
네, 시작하셔도 돼요.
Hello, my name is Jo Chae-young. I'm in the third grade of Gyeongshin Middle School. May is usually regarded as the month of family. Children are looking forward to Children's Day, and parents are happily waiting for Parents' Day. May seems to be a very happy month, but there is a tragic history in May. Have you ever heard about the May 18 Gwangju Democratic Movement? The May 18 pro-democratic movement is a democratic uprising in Gwangju and South Jeolla Province on May 18, 1980, denouncing the new military plot to take power and calling for the realization of democracy. People were looking forward to ending of the military regime after the death of President Jung Il-park, but Chun Doo-hwan and Roh Tae-woo staged a coup and the military regime started all over again. Obviously, the citizens were angry and the pro-democracy movement began. Many people knew about the existence of the pro-democracy movement, but not in full detail. However, we have to remember the great sacrifices that followed. At that time, many people went out to the streets and cried out for democracy. But soldiers trampled them down horribly. The people who fought for the democracy of South Korea were citizens without any weapons. Nevertheless, the soldiers often fired indiscriminately. They even used violence on people who were not involved in the demonstration. They were targeted just for being nearby. For 10 days, Gwangju was full of gunshots, where basic human rights that should be respected were not, and the citizens of Gwangju were terrified. As I have learned about this history, I feel very proud of my country, and especially my hometown of Gwangju. On the other hand, people still know the incorrect history of it. I feel very hurt by that. 사랑도 명예도 이름도 남김없이. Do you know this song? Isn't this song familiar? It is Imerian 행진곡 that resonated in Gwangju when the citizens of May 18 movement shouted for democracy. And it resonated in Hong Kong on June 2019. The Hong Kong demonstrators shouted for democracy singing Imerian 행진곡 translated into their own language. It is no exaggeration to say that it made a tremendous contribution to creating a world where we live freely now. No honor is more meaningful than that, and their dedication was more beautiful than anything else. Isn't it time to get rid of the blame for the people who have been misunderstood? In spite of this event, it is still unknown to the world the person who made initial order to attack Gwangju and the location of the secret burial of the deceased during the Gwangju massacre. We have to remember them and let our voices be heard. When the military came in with helicopters and tanks, Martyr Yoon Sang-won said, "Hey people, we will be defeated here today. However, someday, the history will remember us as winners. The history and the world are telling the truth, and we will remember them." I wish my speech today would help make the May 18 democracy movement more known throughout the world, and I hope that the misunderstandings of the honorable people will be resolved as soon as possible. Thank you for listening.
감사합니다. 다음은 주현우 학생입니다.
Have you ever hard to imagine now, but just 40 years ago, there was a big incident including all these things. We call this incident the May 18th Democratic Uprising. This incident happened in Gwangju for 10 days. Gwangju citizens fought for democracy against the government. The government was a dictatorship, and lots of innocent people died during the progress. Little children, pregnant women, and disabled people also died. So Gwangju citizens stood up and fought for their family, friends, and country. Their ages, gender, and jobs might have been different, but they are all fighting for the same thing. They are all in hard situations, but they still helped each other. They shared foods and supplies. They fought against the army, risking their lives. Nobody outside knew that they were having these problems, so they only had each other to trust and protect. As the situations got harder, more people gathered together. I think this is a true social spirit, and we should keep this spirit in our hearts these days. One of the representative things from this incident is rice balls. Gwangju people made rice balls and shared them. Rice balls were good for one meal, and it was easy to make. We still eat rice balls at school on May 18th to remember their spirits. If you want to learn more about this incident, you should visit the May 18th Memorial Park. There are lots of things to see about this incident there. Even though the civic movement didn't end well, this incident gives us a lot of lessons. and it is one of the important events of showing how citizens fought for democracy until this now. This incident was a good example for other civil movements. We should remember people who had sacrificed their lives and fought against the army, because if there weren't these people, there wouldn't be our country we are living on right now. We should also remember the spirits of helping and fighting together nowadays, so we can fight against the hard situations we are having now, like the coronavirus. Thank you for listening.
네, 시작하셔도 됩니다.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jimin Choi, a young citizen of Gwangju. I am here to kindly ask all of you to remember the date May 18, 1980. The pro-democracy movement happened in Gwangju simply started as a civil resistance against the unfair military-based government. Then, it developed as an excellent example of protest for political rights in a democratized country. What makes you think made it happen? There were numerous numbers of deaths occurred for change, and sadly, those spirits are still newly discovered today. Unfortunately, this painful event led over 5,000 victims, and it took 10 days for the citizens to recreate Gwangju as an area under rebel control and spread the importance of actualizing the autonomous community. The human rights that was promised to be realized was nowhere seen, and people were brutally assaulted. Are you brave enough to risk your life for the progress of your country? People in Gwangju were fearless. Their passions, beliefs, and wisdom became a mentor for the people of Korea today. According to my aunt, who was an elementary student during the Gwangju movement, she said she was completely cut off from the outside world, and so to her, Gwangju was a place leading her to suffocate and recall the memories she was unwilling to remember. One of the unforgettable stories I've heard from her was that a bullet from an army shot her friend's hand, but they couldn't go to hospital or anywhere, and even had to cover all the windows with a blanket in order to show that the house looked like its lights are off. And therefore, the wound had festered, and it clearly became a trauma to my aunt and her friend. Nevertheless, even though those memories are disconsolately remembered, she's now so happy and proud that the protesters she saw on May 18, 1980 are now remembered as the heroes. They could be called as the champions today because of those hopes and desires that were never given up. The actions they took, the praise they wished, the fight they joined are now the motivations to other countries. And therefore, this movement is globally established as an exceptional protest for the authoritarian regimes. Remember, the human rights we have right now for granted was a matter considered as normal to those innocent protesters in Gwangju. Thanks to those heroes of May 18, 1980 who created independence and freedom today. Thanks to those sacrifices that taught us how to self-govern and make our own choices for the improved politics. Thanks to those leaders among the individuals who brought Gwangju together regardless of age and gender, but just for one goal, democracy. Thank you.
감사합니다. 여러분 모두 잘하셨고 이상으로 중학생 발표를 모두 마치겠습니다. With this, we will wrap up the middle school division. 시상식은 5월 18일 광주 외국인학교에서 진행될 예정이었으나 코로나 관련 교육부의 지침에 따라 직접 오는 건 어렵게 되었고 시상 결과는 오늘 중으로 개별 연락으로 안내드릴 예정이고 온라인 시상식이 5월 18일 또 줌으로 이루어질 예정입니다. 시간은 추후 공지드리겠습니다. The awarding ceremony, prize winners will be announced and contacted later on today, and the awarding ceremony will be done online May 18th, next Monday. The time will be announced also later over the weekend. 지금까지 참여해주신 발표자들께 감사드립니다. Thank you everyone for your participation. 하시면 되겠습니다. 네, 공효진 학생도 이제 준비되시는 대로 음소거 풀고 시작하시면 되겠습니다.
Hello. They have come without fail.
잠시만요.
네.
죄송해요. 안 들려가지고.
네.
네, 이제 다시 시작해 주세요.
They have come without fail. The May 18 democratic movement is an incident in which Gwangju citizens and South Jeolla province resistance protested for democracy in the face of the suppression of the new military forces. Various citizens who are family members, neighbors, ordinary citizens, and students lost their precious lives. When there was a shortage of food and medicine due to traffic and communication disruptions, the drugstore brought them medical supplies, merchants served drinks and fruits, and mothers cooked rice with pots on the streets. People who had nothing to offer gave their own blood for blood transfusion. And when the press was silent in front of the truth, citizens stepped forward. A night school that taught workers labor consciousness and knowledge to bully teachers and students stayed up all night producing fighters' bulletins, blocking windows with blankets to prevent light from leaking out, and printing thousands of iron pencil manuscripts. At that time, public power was completely collapsed, and thousands of guns were sold, but no financial accidents occurred in golden silver looms or banks. As a Gwangju student, Gwangju's high public morality and civic ethics make me proud. We are going to lose today, but tomorrow's history will make us winners. Yoon Sang-won was right. Gwangju eventually became the winner. Just as justice wins in history, this Gwangju spirit will win in the end. In 2011, related records are listed as UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. It means that the spirit of human rights, democracy and peace, universal values of mankind in the May 18 democratic movement must be shared and inherited by everyone in the world. If I were in Gwangju at that time, I would have done the same. I pledge to take the lead in protecting democracy, the world where we are masters. I will not forget. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 두 번째 학생은 김지연 학생입니다.
Hello, my name is Jian Kim. Today I'm here to talk about one of the most significant events in Korean democracy. It is already May. I really like this month of the year. It has Children's Day, which is my favorite holiday, and its weather is just so wonderful. For 4 years ago, May of Gwangju wasn't like this. 606. It is the number of people who died during the May of 1980 in Gwangju. When General John Doo-han became president by overthrowing government, the people of Korea protested, especially in Gwangju. Then the government decided to send an army in order to suppress the protesters. The army fired guns at the protesters and civilians. Innocent people were killed by the army who was supposed to protect them, just because they spoke out against what they believed to be wrong. All of the protesters, they couldn't win. All of the army had weapons and they blocked the border of the city. No one outside could know what was going on in Gwangju. Even the news networks misinformed the people as protesters were rioting. But they kept fighting for the justice and democracy of South Korea. The movement lasted about 2 weeks. At the end of it, the army decided to use tanks against the people who were protesting at the Jeonnam provincial office. The army won. Most of the protesters were killed or arrested. Even now, we don't know where all of them are buried. But the protests and the protesters' sacrifices weren't meaningless. Because of it, people got inspired, and it contributed to June Democratic Rebellion, which is the biggest democratic movement in Korean history. Some days ago, former President John Doo-han came to Gwangju in order to appear in court. He did not admit any of his crimes, even behaved as if he was innocent. As I was watching the shameless behavior, I again thought about the democratic movement, and it is our duty to condemn him. After 2 days, it is going to be the first anniversary of the May Democratic Movement. I wish we all can take some time and express appreciation, like go to May 18th National Cemetery or go to May 18th Democratic Archive. Whatever you decide to do, let us never forget the sacrifices made in our history, so we can enjoy the freedom that we have today. Thank you so much.
다음 학생은 변혜인 학생입니다.
시작하나요?
네, 시작하셔도 됩니다.
네. Hi, I'm Byun-hae from Suncheon Mason Girls High School. Whole country was protesting against the military regime's dictatorship in 1980. Like other regions, in Gwangju, there was a pro-democracy movement protesting against the dictatorship. We call it 5.18 민주화 운동. The soldiers massacred lots of innocent people indiscriminately. They did it for no other reason than the people were protesting democracy and the abolition of martial law. Unlike soldiers, people had a reasonable reason why did they protest against the soldiers. At that time, John Doo-hwan was expanding emergency martial law and also mounted a coup, so he was controlling Korea under a military dictatorship. So, the people were fighting to dissolve the emergency martial law and not to make their country a dictatorship again. Despite those reasons, the soldiers brutally tortured, arrested, and massacred people. But you know what? Here's more astounding thing than what I said right before. John Doo-hwan, a dictator at that time, forced the press not to write articles about what happened in Gwangju and did not allow people to come or live there. He didn't let people in other regions know what was going on, even if it's in the same country. So, no one in other regions noticed that many people were dying there. John Doo-hwan even fabricated a document about what really happened in Gwangju, so some people still don't know that John Doo-hwan regime massacred lots of innocent people. Thanks to people in Gwangju who endured such an agonizing time, we eventually protected Korea from being a dictatorship. As we had their blood, tears, and their lives, Korea became a country recognized by the whole world. Thus, we must be grateful to their blood, tears, and their lives, and we must not forget it. In 2011, records on May 18th democracy movement were listed on UNESCO. And now, in 2020, Korea is listed in the hearts of the world as a great nation, and it's because we had many people sacrifice and efforts. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 다음은 성시원 학생입니다.
시작할까요?
네,
Hi, my name is Zion, and I'm a junior at a high school in Mokpo. After I decided to apply to the contest, I did some research on the topic and found much about its historical significance, many inspirational stories about community working together, and its impact on the world stage. It was an eye-opening experience and gave me a new insight on the event as well as clear vision for the future. I heard about many democratic movements or demonstrations by my parents or others. However, the Gwangju Democratization Uprising movement was one of the most significant ones. To know deeper, I've researched what really happened at the time. The more I've researched about it, the more I realized the impact this event has given to the history of Korea. There have been countless reports and stories, and no one knows for sure what really happened during the time. However, one thing was very clear that the military junta tried to crush the civil uprising using heavy machinery and tanks, while civilians bravely protested demanding democracy and resisted against the military government. The military government brought in heavy forces and used brutal violence against citizens, causing countless civilians deaths, including many college students. Think of the ruthless army soldiers. They must have been so scary, especially if they have threatened you with full force, insisting you to give up. However, people in Gwangju didn't give in, but have pulled together and cooperated with each other more than ever before. It might have been absolutely a frightening experience for them to confront the military powers, but their hearts and determinations were larger and stronger than fear. It showed the united struggle and desire for democracy in Korea, where there were no civil rights, no individual freedom for the citizens. Comparing to Americans at the time, America had freedom of petition as the most significant right as it is written in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. But for the Koreans in the time, even the most fundamental human right was ignored and rejected by the government who was supposed to protect the rights of its people and provide the welfare of citizens. Eventually, people want to receive what they're fighting for at the cost of a number of lives. We know their lives were never wasted. How brave those patriotic spirits who didn't give up even facing armed soldiers. There's famous saying, no pain, no gain. Because of their noble sacrifice, we could live free here and now in Korea. I know there have been many other countries gone through similar struggles for democracy just like Korea did. For instance, America fought against England to protect their own rights, and eventually they successfully achieved it because their founding fathers and ancestors had paid the price for their rights to live free and happy. So I want to ask, what should we do then, remembering those who had given their lives for our democracy? First, we should acknowledge the past wrongdoings in order to prevent them from happening again. The freedom we have today is not given for free. It was paid by those who risked their lives and died. Second, we should move forward to the bright, better future because we cannot linger on the past. Let us step up to the mount and put our best foot forward together. Thank you.
감사합니다. 아주 잘 듣고 있는 것 같습니다. 다음으로 손효원 학생입니다.
Hello, I'm here to talk about the May 18th movement that happened in my country, Korea, in 1980. On-site crimes, indiscriminately fired bullets, and corpses running streets. These are things that could never happen in Korea now. Can you believe that it happened just 40 years ago? And the cause of this tragedy was the fierce resistance of the people to achieve democracy against the tyranny of the military regime. The biggest problem here is that for making legitimate claims for me and my country, people were persecuted, and the soldiers, whose duty was to protect them, held them at gunpoint. However, some people have tried to distort the historical facts, and even if they knew some facts, they're not interested in or do not know well about it. So I'm going to tell you why we should know all about this tragedy in the past, why we need to know about May 18th movement properly, why the facts should not be overlooked. In the words of Albert Camus, who is a famous French writer, if you do not punish the crimes of yesterday, you are encouraging tomorrow's crimes. If you try to forget the real facts that happened in the past, this tragedy can repeat itself. We need to distinguish what to forget and what not to forget. There are some statements about May 18 movement that should not be said. For example, in 1980, the Gwangju riot became a May 18 movement that became a democratization movement to be used politically. Hundreds of people were photographed in front of the Jeonnam provincial office in May 18th, and no one claimed to be one of them. They are the words that distort our history. What would you feel if you just made claims for you and your country, and because of that, your soldiers were holding their guns at you? History repeats itself. In order to protect us and protect our rights in the eternal repetition, all I like to do right now is to correct the wrong history. We cannot go further without correcting the past, since the present is the mirror of the past. We need to look back from the roots and fix it, so that we cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. So I want to tell you, stop the history distortions that insult the justification of May 18th movement. People of all age and gender, and even others, fought for the country. And if we insult the spirit of the movement, we will no longer have a future. Do not forget the value of May 18th. Let us remember those who gave us present. Thank you for listening to my speech.
감사합니다. 다음 학생 유자민 학생입니다.
Hello, my name is Yu Jamin. Today I talk about the May 18th pro-democracy movement. It's beginning with the military rebellion of former President Che Doo-hwan. They killed soldiers and kidnapped high-ranking people to seize the Korean army by force and in 1980s. They expanded the May 17th emergency martial law across the country to create a coup in which they took control of the three powers of legislation, administration, and jurisdiction. A peaceful demonstration led by students from Jeonnam University took place, while rallies and demonstrations took place in Seoul and around the country. In Gwangju, an integration meeting was held every day, led by students from Jeonnam University and Joseon University in early May. The students advanced to downtown Gwangju and staged demonstrations with various ways. As the demonstration spread, the new military sent out military force to suppress the revolution and demonstration and ordered them to do so. At 11:40 p.m., the new military announced that emergency martial law spread all over the country as early as midnight on 18th, and beginning talking university students and those from the opposition camp. In Gwangju, Daejeon, of people were taken to the Gwangju security force from around midnight on May 18th, and students were forcibly taken to Jeonnam and Joseon University, and soldiers were sent to major institutions in Gwangju. Citizens and students actively confront the martial arts and turn the city center into a battlefield. As a result, more soldiers were sent to Gwangju, resulting in a sharp increase of casualties. Demonstrations spread the word about the atrocities of the martial arts and advanced to South Jeonnam province to counter army force, but this led to the May 18th pro-democracy movement spreading not only to Gwangju but also to Jeollanam-do province. On May 21, the civil armies retreated in martial arts force and realized popular autonomy. By May 27th, during this period, the civil army was in charge of security and administrative work in Gwangju. 3 days later, however, the Gwangju Democratic Movement came to an end as martial law force invaded the country again, and many civils were arrested and killed in provincial government. The pro-democracy movement, which they devote their life to, has now become the foundation for democracy in Korea. Thank you for listening.
감사합니다. 다음은 윤예성 학생입니다.
Think of someone. It can be your family, friend, or your loved ones. Now imagine one day they are gone, not just far away, but to a place you cannot follow. 40 years ago in Gwangju, many innocent people died, but their deaths were not in vain. It began with a military coup that declared martial law nationwide to control the people. Many stood up, but soon dismissed. But in Gwangju, it was just the beginning, and the lonely fight began. Soldiers began to assault not only the protesters, but also innocent citizens. Trucks stopped on streets, poured out soldiers who started using their clubs and bayonets to hit and stab people. But Gwangju citizens who witnessed these cruel actions felt anger more than fear. Protests grew, and the soldiers who were supposed to point their guns to our enemy pointed their guns to us. They aimed at their people and shot to kill. During the isolation, when the martial forces were away, Gwangju citizens showed high civic spirit and morality. There was a blood donation to treat the injured, and no significant incidents or accidents occurred, even in the absence of administrative and security forces. Also, though thousands of weapons were released, none of the robberies took place. There was not a single crime in Gwangju shopping districts, financial institutions, and department stores. During the period of citizen autonomy, the role of the administrative agency was maintained substantially with the cooperation of Gwangju citizens. Government officials went to work normally and played an active role in administrative affairs such as releasing food or dealing with the injured. After the short, isolated but free period, the martial army began swarming in. In revealed photos and videos, which gives me a lot of pain to watch, people waving flags and shouting on top of cars were faced by bullet showers and tanks. But they didn't stop. They kept on marching, crying for justice. Once 5,000 marched and only 300 survived. But do you think that they didn't know what was going to happen? No, they knew. Then why? Let's be them for a moment. Imagine that we were one of those citizens. Now, let me ask you, can you stop fighting when your friends are getting tortured? Can you stop fighting when young children are getting shot to death? Can you stop fighting when the last memories of your loved ones are their scream? Can you stop fighting when roads are flooded with innocent blood? We might lose. No, we will lose. But we will stand and we will fight. We will show them who we are. The Democracy Act of May 18, 1980 was brutally trampled, but the spirit survived and led to the Candle Revolution and once again blossomed in our hearts. The bright nights showed that the nation's sovereignty lies with its people. The noble sacrifices and efforts that took place in Gwangju on May 18th only dreamed of democratization and eventually achieved it. May Gwangju's spirit of democracy remain in our hearts forever. This was Ye Seung-yun, who is proud to be a Gwangju citizen. Thank you.
감사합니다. 벌써 마지막 참가자까지 왔네요. 마지막은 조혜수 학생입니다.
Hello, my name is Cho Hee-soo, and I'm from Munjang Girls High School. Do you know when human rights of the citizens are destroyed? We can find the answer easily by learning the process of May 18th Gwangju Democratic Movement. Its exact name in English is the May 18th Democratic Uprising Against Military Regime in Gwangju, Republic of Korea. In the history of democratization of Korea, many dictators killed the citizens who they thought were their political opponents. In this history, the most hurt place was Gwangju in 1980. In 1979, military regime of Park Chung-hee came to an end with his death. At the same time, new army group of Chun Do-hwan and No Tae-woo started to be seen to citizens. Citizens who wanted democracy to be trampled again by them set a democratic movement together. This movement reached the climax at the beginning of May, and university students gathered on May 18th. Violence from the nation started at this moment. Martial law armies swung police sticks and pointed guns at Gwangju citizens. In this process, a lot of citizens died. As a president of a nation, the act of using violence to citizens who make the nation and work for it cannot be forgiven forever. There were no human rights of the citizens. There were only miserable scenes and crying people who lost their families. Now, 14 years later, there are many reasons for why Gwangju citizens are still respected, but the most certain reason for it is they fought against the wrong act of nation. If similar democratic movement takes place, who can go there without hesitancy? Taking courage against the violence of nation must have been a hard decision for them too. Through the noble sacrifice from the hard decision, we can meet our democratic nation, Republic of Korea now. And the secondary reason for why Gwangju citizens are respected is that there were no thieves during the 10 days of chaos. Anyone could take something from the empty houses or stores, but no one did. And in some way, the word guarantee human rights, democratization, looks very superficial and natural. Despite the terrible pain, they did it to the end to leave these things to descendants. Even though there are many adults who suffered horrific scenes are alive now, we remember it barely. And there are so many people who don't know about this movement in this world. Our descendants, who cannot have living witnesses, will just see and pass this history in the one page of history textbooks. To send this memory to our descendants and not to replay this history again, we should let the world know it and follow the spirit of Gwangju citizens. Thank you.
두 번째 학생은 박준 학생입니다.
Hello, I'd like to share my life story with you today. As a child, I was abused by my parents for no reason. He was a common boss outside, but when he got home, he became a monster. He was beaten if he didn't give the answer he wanted. The whole body was covered with bruises and wounds. I asked for help, but people said, "It's your fault." After then, I had to endure physical and mental pain. For years, I couldn't even speak, and I wanted to end this life. Fortunately, as time passed, people began to sympathize with my wounds and separate him from me. But still, some people see my wounds, fear me, shame me, and ignore me. My name is Gwangju. In the spring of Gwangju in 1980, the Korean government made a mistake that should not be done. Because of the dictatorship, the people of Gwangju started a demonstration. Then the government suppressed them by force. Very few, or even one man's greed, have tarnished U.S. Army as murder tools and have taken the lives of the people. The sacrifice of Gwangju citizens took root. 7 years later, it grows and grows and bears fruit in Seoul. This is because the police tortured and killed a college student. Citizens were angry, and a memorial service for him was held. Surprisingly, as many as 1 million citizens came out to pay tribute to his death and shouted for democracy. Such a wrong dictatorship ended with the president's arrest. We must inherit in May 18th street. Not a single crime occurred in Gwangju that day. People made food, shared it, and took the injured person to hospital. May 18 democracy movement is sad history of the government killing the people, but at the same time, it is amazing example of people cooperating in one sense. In 2017, the president's corruption made people angry. People held candles and shouted her impeachment. Once again, South Korea shows that the owner of the country is people. What efforts should we make to make a good country? As time goes by, many problems will come. Viruses can spread, or discrimination can occur. Every time that happens, we should try to be one. If we close our ears and just insist, we can't be one forever. We must preserve this pre-thought education. We should show the next generation the right history with words and action. Seeds sown in May are still growing. 감사합니다.
네, 잘 들었습니다. 다음은 손유민 학생입니다.
시작하겠습니다. Welcome. I'm Miss Hone, who is always sincere. Everyone, express history in your own words. Some people can say, my favorite subject, and some can say, the footstep of the world. I think history is an artist. People in history wrote poems and composed songs, whether it was a good situation or a bad situation. I think art is an important part of history. So today, I'm going to show you the Gwangju Uprising alongside art. The first poem I'd like to introduce is part of poet Kim Nam-ju's Don't Sing May with the Grass Leaf in the Wind, who resists autocratic politics with his whole body. May has come with bloody-beast crows. May has come with the teeth of a mother that thirsts for blood. May has come with a soldier with a sword who cut the belly of pregnant mother. May has come with digging up the eyes of the children that stick out like blood. May has come with an American tank pressing the breath of freedom. In May 1980, Gwangju's colors were black and red. Gwangju citizens pushed away dictatorship, dream of a democratic society, and start peaceful protests. But the price for peaceful protest was blood. Citizens holding the national flag and calling for democracy had to face indiscriminate violence by armed soldiers, and the media was powerless. The army, which has a mission to protect the people and the country, aims gun and knives at citizens, not at enemy. The sun and the moon are plummeting, or the mountain lands of this era, when it stands wrong. But no one can tear, no one can take away. Oh, my flag of freedom, flag of flesh and bones. This is part of poem Gwangju, the Curse of the People by poet Kim Jun-tae, who still sings peace. As the poem describes, the army encamped the city and suppressed the citizens with violence. But the heart of Gwangju citizens were burning hotter. They didn't bow before the army's gun and knives, but they gathered more strength. When the hospital lacked blood, the elderly and students joined the blood donation, and the local women gathered in groups to make food for protesters. Also, the reason was care about the city's security, and everyone came out together to clean up the bloodstained streets. This shows how the sense of order and community of Gwangju citizens were. Gwangju in May was dark,
but it was warm. At this point, I want to sing a song for you. We will leave no honor, no love, no fame. We promise to keep working on long as we shall live. The song is titled March for the Beloved and was made for sword wedding ceremony of Yun Sang-won, a hero of Gwangju Uprising in 1982, and Bok Yi-soon, who had the same dream. The song was translated into various languages and spread to Hong Kong, Japan, and other countries, giving determination to those who fought for democracy. Also, their value and spirit have been recognized around the world, with records of the May 18 Gwangju Uprising listed on UNESCO's Memory of the World. The Gwangju series' fervent desire for democracy is something that moved the whole world. Lastly, I would like to mention the speech of Yun Sang-won. Gentlemen, we will be defeated today, but tomorrow history will make us winner. Can you feel it? Can you feel the desire for democracy of Gwangju regions? They were not afraid of death to make what they thought was right. What they really afraid of was a society that might not change, not a gun, a knife. So, we have to remember, we should keep the shout of young students, teachers, parents, office workers, and Gwangju region in our hearts. When we remember them, their cries will shine. I hope you can feel my sincerity. Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 다음 오사랑 학생입니다.
Hi, my name is Oh Sarang. I want to introduce about the Gwangju democratization movement. Only when a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it can produce fruit. The freedom and peace that I'm enjoying now is a result of righteous sacrifices against fear and violence. Gwangju democratization uprising in 1980 was a significant uprising in the city of Gwangju, South Korea. This uprising became the starting point of the democratization movement in June 1987. The background of this movement began with President Chun Doo-hwan, who was the 11th and 12th President of South Korea. Chun Doo-hwan seized the power over the country with coup d'etat. This ignited much demonstration against his force, and most of the demonstrators were college students. People who armed with weapons called civilian troops, and they fiercely fought against them. However, the troops were crushed by the soldiers with the tank, and the democratic uprising came to the end on May 27th. However, this movement slowly expanded throughout the country, and 7 years later, people from all the other cities came up to fight against them in June 1987. They expelled Chun Doo-hwan and changed the constitution so that the president could be elected directly by the citizens. The democratic uprising in Gwangju became the foundation of the June struggle for democracy. I think this is one of the most important movements in the country. Even though so many people lost their lives for the democracy, it eventually brought out democratic election, and government and officials have been elected in justice and legal way. Chun Doo-hwan used illegal ways to hold the power, and it was the cause of the rebellion against him. We need to remember the sacrifice of those whose effort and courage for democracy and freedom of this country. They fought bravely and did not afraid to give up their lives for the freedom. The price of democracy and freedom is not free at all. It might be almost impossible to achieve democratization of the Republic of Korea without the sacrifice of many people who fought without surrendering to the oppression that threatened their lives. Their movement had a great impact on me, and I want to grow up to be a contributing citizen of our country and make my country better and wonderful. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
감사합니다. 다음 유자영 학생입니다.
Hello, I'm Yoo Ja-young, a senior in high school. What do you come to mind in May? In Korea, May is a family month, and there are many fun anniversaries such as Children's Day, Parents' Day, and Teachers' Day. However, this year especially, the 14th anniversary of the May 18th Democratic of Spring. Since I want to become a doctor, I am very interested in the medical field. And while researching about the May 18th Democratic of Spring, I naturally began to look for areas related to medical. So, I'm going to introduce the military Gwangju Hospital today. On the May 18, 1980, the offspring broke out in Gwangju and Jeollanam-do province, denouncing a new military conspiracy for power and seeking democracy. In the course of repression, many students were arrested by martial law government, taken to the martial command headquarters, tortured, assaulted, and questioned. Military Gwangju Hospital is the place where students injured by torture and assaulted were taken to receive further treatment. It is currently designated as Historic Site number 23, and around the hospital there is a church, toilet, public bath, and medical supply warehouse, and a boiler house. Every building has historical significance, but especially the boiler house is more meaningful. This is because it is a place suspected of the incineration of victims of the May 18th Democratic of Spring may have occurred in this chimney. Actually, a reporter working as an investigator of the 505 security unit wrote the article about it. The citizens of Gwangju who were treated under strict surveillance had to suffer even after being questioned and tortured by martial law investigators of hospitals. If I were in the hospital, it would have been unbearable. I feel gratitude to the citizens of Gwangju for their efforts to democratize the country. Even when their right to receive medical treatment and their physical and mental health were violated. If you go to Gwangju, why don't you take a walk around the hospital, imagining yourself at the time? You can feel the noble spirit and importance of the May 18th Democratic of Spring. Thank you for listening. 이상입니다.
네, 감사합니다. 이제 거의 반 이상을 넘어갔는데요. 다음 학생은 이도현 학생입니다.
It is heartbreaking in Korea, but I want to talk about the history we should not forget today. In 1998, with the sound of gunfire, many people are bleeding and falling. What are they fighting desperately for? To briefly explain the situation at the time, the people's aspirations for democracy were burning when Park's dictatorship continued. At that time, John Doo-han took power as a military coup and began to oppress the people. In response to this, the people protested, and the new military government enforces the expansion of natural martial law and the closing order to prevent it. Students attempting to enter the school protested vigorously when arrested by martial law forces. Then the martial law forces began to beat the students and began ruthless assault. In response, angry citizens began to join forces, and martial law forces mobilized armored vehicles and guns. The government has reportedly suppressed the mob of Gwangju and isolated it by blocking the connection to other cities. Increasing number of militias began to gather at the city hall and begin to confront the martial forces in adverse circumstances. In the situation of confrontation, the number of deaths began to increase, and citizens were trembling. I didn't lock the door because my daughter would be alive and come back, and I would go outside the house at night, even if the wind passed by me. Those who were there say, it is a wish to find the one of a son and bury them in a sunny place. Many of these people lost their lives, and the number of deaths was increasing. There were medical staffs who kept their positions even under such extreme circumstances. They did their best on the spot to keep their pledge to save the patient's life. Despite their efforts, there were so many patients that they lacked blood. So many patients were dying before surgery. In this story, a lot of people donated blood to save the patients and to help the protesters. During this period, Gwangju showed a perfect security system without any one-death incident, despite the collapse of the security system. Although the 518 Gwangju democratization movement ended with failure, it was registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2011 in recognition of resistance, participation, and solidarity. Because of the sacrifices and efforts of these people, democracy could exist, and now the era of free speech can come. It can be said that solidarity corresponding to this corona also has its roots, and this perfect order and cooperation continues. As you can see in Candlelight Valley, this year, the 518 democratization movement is celebrating its 40th anniversary. Please do not forget to remember the noble sacrifices of those who have achieved democracy today. Thank you.
감사합니다. 다음으로 이혜수 학생입니다. 이혜수 학생?
네, 시작하겠습니다. Hi, I'm Lisa. Today I'll talk about a very huge pool event in Gwangju. In Korea, we call the event Oil Fire. It happened in 1980. It is a very important historical event, but many people misunderstand until now. So, no truth. Because of one act like Park Chung-hee, who was a past president of South Korea. After Park died, people in South Korea as a democratic government. But Chun Doo-hwan came out as a president and started to rule South Korea. Chun Doo-hwan ruled South Korea steadily. Police students started the vigil to bring democracy back. It started with Seoul, Busan, Gwangju, and 10 other cities. When they started the vigil, Chun Doo-hwan led airborne forces, who are soldiers, to go to the cities and started to kill the citizens. That made the citizens stop the vigil for Gwangju, except for Gwangju. This date was May 13th. The Gwangju demonstrators, who are usually the college students, wanted to vigil peacefully. But when the airborne forces heard that college students say, "Go away, airborne forces," the forces started to hit the demonstrators. On May 19th, that is the day when the airborne forces killed the demonstrators very cruelly. On May 20th to 21st, soldiers came to Gwangju, started to use a gun and shot the demonstrators. On May 23rd, the airborne forces retreated from Gwangju, so at the time demonstrators recovered their injuries. Retreated from Gwangju. But they were waiting out of Gwangju and made Gwangju isolated from other. For example, they cut off all the phone calls and transportations from other cities. On May 27th, only 150 demonstrators left in the provincial and made a stand. Then 14 demonstrators were shot by the soldiers. This was the last vigil from Gwangju demonstrators. The result was during May 18th, the total of 606 people died and 3,100 people got injured. All they got killed or injured by horses. After this event happened, Chanduan didn't. Chanduan is still alive and part. But the winner for this May 18th event was horses and Chanduan. They got Gwangju and Gwangju citizens could do nothing. Even though airborne forces soldiers got Gwangju, the demonstrations is failed, but not failed, because they saved democracy. In my opinion, about May 18th, the most important one is that Chanduan must know how Gwangju citizens felt and get punishment. Because after May 18th, he didn't have any punishment. He just went to judgment for 40 years. Also, there are some people who have misunderstood about Gwangju citizens and May 18th event. Until now, they have thought that Gwangju citizens started. However, government. I hope people who are misunderstanding about May 18th have to know the truth, that democracy was saved by movement of Gwangju citizens. One thing I really want to say is Chanduan is Hitler of South Korea to Gwangju citizens. Thank you.
감사합니다. 네, 감사합니다. 다음은 정소은 학생입니다.
시작할게요.
네.
Hello, I'm Soon and I'm 18 years old. Last year, my mother suggested doing a special family activity. I didn't really want to do it, but I thought it would be better than studying at the academy. So my family went to visit Gangnam. My father explained to me what happened in May 1980. I couldn't imagine it, and I only thought about ice cream because I was so tired. However, my father was so serious about it. He was explaining the circumstance like a movie scene. He told me that 31 helicopters were flying on the sky in Gwangju during the seasons. I also heard that 245 police traces have been discovered in Johnny Building. Has it really happened? It shouldn't be real. I was holding my sister's hand so tight because I was so scared. I can't even imagine how the citizens in Gwangju were terrified. The citizens wanted to cooperate and help each other. The people who worked at the day market and Yangdong market got divided into few groups and started to provide the food. They did it not because they are ordered by others, but because they just wanted to eat. They also started to save their money to support the people who were fighting with foods such as bread, milk, and kimbap, so that they were encouraged a lot. As you know, whole world and even Korea is also suffering with the coronavirus. I remember Gwangju had a lot of people who are infected by the coronavirus in Daegu the last March. So I thought the civic consciousness of Gwangju is great. I'm so proud that I was born and grew up in Gwangju. I want to remember the spirit of Gwangju, and I will I will follow the ideology of Gwangju, which is related to real democracy and real justice. I'm so grateful for the people of Gwangju. Thank you.
감사합니다. 이제 우리 마지막 참가자 정창민 학생 순서입니다.
Hello guys, I'm gonna start my speech with this question. What is democracy? You may think of democracy as just an election, equality, or a dictionary meaning. Let's listen to this story from now on and see how your thinking changed. 40 years ago, when mountains turned green and flowers bloomed, the Republic of Korea was more beautiful than ever when it rose from the Korean War. The long dictatorship seemed to be over, but on the street, people were eager to create democracy against Chun Doo-hwan's new military, which was about to start dictatorship again. College citizens gathered to protest. Suddenly, bang! With a gunshot, the ruthless oppression of the soldiers began. The guns to protect people are aimed at the people. Somebody's son, somebody's husband, somebody's father, and somebody's family was shot to death, hit by a blunt weapon, and taken away. The military expected citizens to be frightened and obey to fear. However, Gwangju citizens chose to fight back to avoid the pain of dictatorship and to gain democracy. In people's hand, there had been a handkerchief to block tear gas, but there were guns to protect democracy. During the 9 days since May 18, 193 people died instantly, 376 died from after effects, 65 went missing, and 3,139 people were injured and 1,589 were arrested and tortured. Because of their honorable sacrifice, we vote with confidence, we choose our president. Democracy, which you take for granted, is not just a given present. Countless people fell bleeding to get it. Then I ask you again now, what is democracy for you? Thank you.
제2회 광주 외국인학교장의 영어 스피치뱅 시청지 참석해 주셔서 감사의 말씀드립니다.
First, we want to acknowledge our, sorry, we had a little feedback there. First, we want to acknowledge the incredible risk that you all took to be in this contest. You all worked so hard and everyone did well. I myself have learned a lot about the history of Gwangju, and I feel very proud and very lucky to live here. So thank you all for teaching me so much.
열심히 준비하신 여러분들 발표를 듣고 저도 광주에 대해서 많은 것을 배웠습니다. 이 도시에 살고 있는 것에 대해 매우 자랑스럽게 생각하게 되었습니다. 감사드립니다.
Now, the moment you've been waiting for. We're going to announce our participation awards and winners. To let you know, we used the judges' scores to identify our top scorers. In the event of a disagreement, we took the average score for all of the judges of the contestant in question, and then we ranked you from there. So we'll start with our participation awards.
이제 수상자를 발표하도록 하겠습니다. 각 심사위원들 점수를 합산하여 높은 점수 순으로 수상자가 결정되었습니다. 먼저 장려상부터 발표해 드리도록 하겠습니다.
All right, so our participation awards are going to Park Junhyun, Park Ji-yu, On Ari, Lee Jin-ju, Im Yu-bin, and Ju Hyun-woo. Congratulations!
장려상 대상 6명 학생들이 선정되었습니다. 축하드립니다.
대표로 박준현 학생께 온라인으로 상장을 수여하겠습니다. 지금 코로나 때문에 모든 것들을 우리가 비대면으로 실시하고 있습니다. 이해해 주시기 바랍니다. 상장 장려상 소속 수기중학교 이름 박준현. 위 사람은 광주 외국인 학교에서 주최하고 광주 공유경제연구회에서 주관한 제1회 광주 외국인 학교장 대 5.18 영어 스피치 대회에서 위와 같이 입상하였기에 이 상장을 수여합니다. 2020년 5월 18일 광주 외국인 학교장 축하합니다. 축하합니다.
Congratulations. Let's move on to our third place winners. Our third place winners are
네, 저희 영상강사 수상자 발표해 드리겠습니다.
All right, Park Shin-young, Lee So-yoon, and Jo Jae-young.
축하합니다. 네, 대표로 박신영 학생께 상장을 수여합니다. 상장 영산강상 소속 월계중학교 이름 박신영. 이하 내용은 같습니다. 축하드립니다.
Our second place winner is Lee Dae-young.
네, 축하드립니다. 상장 무등산상 소속 호남 삼육중학교 이름 이대형. 이하 내용은 같습니다. 축하드립니다.
All right, and our champion, our middle school champion for this year is Che Ji-min. Congratulations, Ji-min! This certificate right here is to certify the above named that you were awarded and honored for excellent work in the May 18th speech contest.
저희 반상 수상자는 최지민 학생이었습니다.
수상하게 되어서 너무 기쁘고 감사의 말씀드립니다. 이 상은 광주 시민으로서 정말 뜻깊은 상이라고 생각을 합니다. 이번에 5.18 스피치를 통해서 정말 광주 민주화 운동에 훨씬 더 잘할 수 있게 된 것 같고 그분들의 희생에 대한 고마움을 다시 한번 느끼게 된 것 같습니다. 5.18에 대해 이제 전 세계에 알리고 또 그들의 정신을 이어가는 학생이 되도록 노력하겠습니다. 현재 코로나 바이러스로 인해 정말 많은 분들께서 힘든 시간을 보내고 계시는데 5.18에 그분들처럼 협력을 통해 이겨낼 수 있으리라 생각합니다. 다시 한번 감사합니다. I'm very happy and feel grateful to be first place in this competition. Through this May 18th speech contest, my knowledge on Gwangju democracy movement have improved a lot, and I think it was an opportunity for me to be aware and one more time feel thankful to those sacrifices. Now I'll try my best to spread awareness about Gwangju democracy movement. Currently, a lot of people are going through some tough time due to coronavirus, but I truly believe that we can all overcome this one day through cooperation, just like those protesters of May 18th. Thank you.
One more to come in. There we go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our virtual awards ceremony to recognize and celebrate the participants and winners of our first annual English speech contest.
제2대 광주 외국인 학교장대 영어 스피치대회 시상식에 참석해 주셔서 감사의 말씀 드립니다.
First, we want to acknowledge the incredible risk that you all took by being in this contest. It's not easy. You all worked hard and everyone did well. I myself have learned a lot about the history of Gwangju, and I feel very proud and lucky to live here. So thank you for teaching me so much.
열심히 준비해주신 여러분들 발표를 듣고 저희 선생님께서도 광주에 대해 더 많은 것을 배웠습니다. 이 도시에 살고 있는 것에 대해 매우 자랑스럽게 생각하게 되었습니다. 감사합니다.
All right, now the moment you've been waiting for. Let's acknowledge our participants and winners. So we used the judges' scores first to identify the top scores. In the event of a disagreement, we took the average score from all of the judges for the contestants in question, and then we ranked you from there.
이제 수상자를 발표하도록 하겠습니다. 수상자는 각 심사위원들 점수를 합산하여 높은 점수로 수상자가 결정되었습니다. 오늘 시상해 주실 분은 광주공유경제연구회 회장님이신 김광배 회장님께서 해주시겠습니다. 이제 수상자를 발표하도록 하겠습니다. 수상자는 각 심사위원들의 점수를 합산하여 높은 점수로 수상자가 결정되었습니다. 시상은 광주공유경제연구회 회장님이신 김광배 회장님께서 해주시도록 하겠습니다.
All right, we're good. Okay, let's start with our participation awards. The following students, that's okay. The following students have won participation awards. Kong Hyojin, Kim Ji-yeon, Byun Hae-in, Song Si-yeon, Son Hyo-won, Yu Ja-min, Park Sang-hui, Jo Hye-soo, Oh Sa-rang, Lee Do-hyun, Lee Hae-soo, and Jung Chang-min. Congratulations.
네, 대표로 공효진 학생을 시상을 하도록 하겠습니다. 상장, 장려상, 소속 문정여자고등학교, 이름 공효진. 위 사람은 광주 외국인학교에서 주최하고 광주 공유경제연구회에서 주관한 제1회 광주 외국인학교장배 5.18 영어 스피치 대회에서 위와 같이 입상하였기에 이 상장을 수여합니다. 2020년 5월 18일 광주 외국인학교장 축하합니다.
Let's move on to our third place winners.
영상하자 수상자 발표하겠습니다.
박준, 유자영, and Jung So-eun.
네, 영상 강상은 두 분을 시상을 하겠습니다. 먼저 대표 박준 학생입니다. 상장 영상 강상 소속 광주 숭일고등학교 이름 박준. 이하 내용은 같습니다. 축하합니다. 그리고 한 분 더. 이분은 she's from 경주 City, 경북 province. 유자영 학생님. 유자영 학생 손 한번 흔들어 보세요. 유자영 학생. 손 한번 흔들어 보세요. 가운데 계신 분 아닌가? 오케이. 축하드립니다. 상장 영산강상 소속 경주여자고등학교 이름 유자영. 이하 내용은 같습니다. 축하드립니다.
Okay, our second place winner.
무등산상 수상자 발표하겠습니다.
Our second place winner is Song Yu-min. Congratulations!
상장 무등산상 소속 중마고등학교 이름 손유민. 이하 내용은 같습니다. 축하드립니다.
Okay, and now for our first place winner. This is our champion, our high school champion of this contest for this year.
5.18 수상자 발표하도록 하겠습니다.
윤예성. So this is to certify that the above named was awarded and honored for excellent work in the May 18th English speech contest. And Ye-sung, if you could share a few words with us.
5.18 수상자 소감 발표하겠습니다.
Thank you. As a Gwangju citizen who was always interested in the May 18th Democracy Act and knows the pain, it is my great honor to receive the first May 18th award. As this year is the 40th anniversary, I hope that the May 18th democratic movement will be properly known to many people around the world. As I learned from listening to other students, I hope that my speech also influenced many others and will influence much more. The things we now take for granted cost many sacrifices. May Gwangju's democratic spirit and the spirit to stand against injustice remain in our hearts forever. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
먼저 감사하다는 말을 모두에게 드리고 싶습니다. 평소에도 5.18에 관심이 많았고 그 아픔을 잘 아는 광주 시민이기에 이 5.18을 주최하는 대회에서 제1회 5.18 상을 받았다는 것이 너무나 큰 영광일 뿐입니다. 감사합니다. 올해 5.18 40주년을 맞아 대회의 목적처럼 5.18 민주운동이 세계 많은 이들에게 올바르게 알려졌으면 하는 바람이며 당시 광주 시민들의 행복과 정신을 많은 사람들이 기억하고 잊지 않기를 바랍니다. 이번 대회를 통해 제가 다른 학생들의 연설을 들으면서 더 알고 깨달은 바가 큰 만큼 저의 연설도 많은 이들에게 영향을 끼쳤고 끼치리라 믿습니다. 지금 당연하게 여기는 것은 많은 이들의 희생이 있었기에 가능했다는 것을 깨닫고 그들이 힘들게 일한 세상에서 자부심을 품고 올바르게 살아가야 할 것입니다. 광주의 민주화 정신과 불의를 맞서는 정신이 우리 가슴 속에 영원히 남기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Well, thank you and congratulations again to everyone. Thank you all for coming to our awards ceremony. Your awards will be mailed to you. Okay.
수상자 여러분들 모두 축하의 말씀 드립니다. 여러분들 상장은 모두 집으로 우편으로 보내드릴 예정이고요. 시상식 참여해주신 모든 분께 감사 말씀드리면서 안녕히 돌아가세요. 그리고 성시원 학생께서는 잠깐 남아주세요.
어떻게 참여를 어떻게 하게 됐어요?
일단 엄마가 학교에서 일하셔가지고 저 스피치 원래 하는 거 좋아해가지고 엄마가 물어봤어요. 하고 싶냐고. 근데 이제 5월 18일에 엄청나게 관심이 있어가지고
엄마는 어떻게 하셨어 학교에서?
엄마가 신청서를 받았대요.
신청서를?
네.
오, 그러니까 학교에 교육청에서 연락이 갔는데 학교 선생님이신가요?
네, 아니요. 학교
행정실에 계시는데 그래서 그걸 받았구나. 오, 오케이. 그리고 준비할 때 어땠어요? 해보니까?
많이 울었어요.
울었어요?
너무 이게 자료화면도 보고 그랬는데 지금 생각하면 막 울컥하는데 너무 막 엄청 폭력을 받고 막 그랬더라고요.
그치.
그래서 사실은 별로 몰랐어요 5.18에 대해서. 근데 진짜 완전 깊숙하게 들어보니까 너무 억울한 일들이 많더라고요. 그래서
그전에는 5.18에 대해서 어떻게 생각하고 있었어요?
저는 그 택시 운전사?
택시 운전사요.
원래 5.18에 대해서 그냥 조금밖에 몰랐는데 그 택시 운전사를 보고 진짜 너무 감명을 얻어가지고 학교에서도 막 프로젝트 하고 그랬거든요. 그래서 되게 5.18에 대해서 가볍게 알고 있다는 게 좀 잘못한 느낌이라 해야 될까? 그래서 지금도 계속 이제 화면도 보고
스피치 원고라든지 이런 연습을 어떻게 했어요?
그냥 계속 말을 하면서 이제 수정을 계속 했던 것 같아요. 그리고 막 모든 나이 연령대 분들이 좋아해야 되겠다는 생각이 들어가지고 엄마한테도 해보고 할머니 할아버지한테도 해보고 그랬어요.
스피치를 해본 거예요?
네, 한국어로 통역을 해가지고.
그랬어요? 그 다음에 지금 수원 하나중학교 다니죠?
네.
중학교에 대해 좀 설명 좀 해줄래?
저 아직 중학교에 안 다녀서 엄청 기대돼요.
어디서 왔었죠? 외국에서 왔었죠?
네, 저는 두바이 아랍에미리트.
아랍에미리트에서 왔는데 이제 그러니까 학교가 좀 오픈 안 해가지고 아직 가지는 못했고. 네. 지금 중학교 3학년이죠?
네.
오케이, 그래요. 내년에도 대회가 있으면 참석할래요?
네, 꼭 참석할게요.
그래요. 또 내년엔 이제 고등학생이 돼가지고 참여하겠네요. 그래요. 내년에 또 보도록 합시다.
네, 감사합니다.
고맙습니다. 자기 소개 좀 해주세요.
저는 이제 광주과학고등학교 2학년 윤예성이고요.
네.
어렸을 적에 이제 캐나다에서 이제 몇 년을 살았던 분이고 그래서 이제 영어가 부담스럽지 않게 나가고
그렇구나.
네, 원래는 이제 여기 광주 시민으로서 이제 옛날부터 5.18에 관심이 상당히 많았고 또 영상이나 나온 사진 그런 거 볼 때마다 상당히 가슴이 아팠고 나도 내가 그런 상황이 있었더라면 나도 같이 나서서 함께 할 수 있었을까 하는 고민을 두고
그 영어 대회 있는 걸 어떻게 알았어요? 어떤 루트로?
이제 학교에서도 몇 번 안내했는데 전체 인터넷 5.18 40주년이니까 관심이 있어졌죠.
아 그렇구나. 학교에서 들었네요?
네.
선생님한테?
안내 게시판 같은
게시판에서 그렇구나. 교육청에서 안내를 했는데 학교에서 들었구나. 오케이. 이번에 준비하니까 어때요? 할만하던가요?
5.18이라는 게 제가 광주에 살고 있으니까 여러 번 접했지만 그래도 계속 할 때마다 새로운 것을 더 알게 되고 이런 일도 있었고 저런 일도 있었다 하면서 이번에는 특히 그 5.18에 이제 광주 시민들이 보였던 여러 높은 시민의식과 자치의식 그런 것을 좀 더 공부할 수 있었어요.
준비하면서 좀 뭐 재밌었다거나 또 어려웠다거나 그런 게 있었어요? 아쉬웠다거나?
일단 그냥 계속 마음이 아팠죠.
마음이 아프고.
그냥 볼 때마다 계속 막 놀라고 글로는 또 글로 읽고 그럴 때는 아 이렇게 심했구나 하는데 또 영상을 보면 너무 더 많이 심하고 막 사람들도 많이 다치고 그러니까
또 원고 쓰고 이렇게 스피치 연습하고 하는 데 있어서는 별 어려움은 없었어요?
스피치를 연습할 때는 일단 저의 그 영상들을 보고 느꼈던 그런 감정과 원통함, 분노 그런 것을 어떻게 표현할지가 상당히 고민해서 한 문장을 써도 계속 이 문장 한 문장 가지고도 몇 번씩 계속 고치면서 어떻게 잘 표현할 수 있을까 하면서 상당히 노력을 많이 했던 것 같아요.
어머니가 많이 도와주셨어요? 오케이.
저
혼자서? 그랬어요? 그렇게. 이렇게 아주 고생했어요. 수고 많았고. 지금 참 몇 학년이죠?
지금 이제 고등학교 2학년.
아, 그럼 내년에 한 번 더 할 수 있겠네. 내년에도 대회는 있을 거예요. 네, 그래요. 고맙습니다. 네네.